Hey guys, want to go to breakfast?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, jump in.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Too early to tell.
Your commander plays Longhorns.
Commanders.
Commanders plays Longhorns.
Yeah.
How did you get that name? She's
Well-
gonna yell at you until you put yourself
I've been yelling.
We went through a bunch of names, and it wasn't going to be Nick's place, and it wasn't going to be Kim's place, and Nikodym was too hard to say. No one could ever say that last name, first off. And so, since he was a commander, well, he was a lieutenant commander, and I was a commander, we decided that we could name the place Commanders Place Longhorns, and without the apostrophe S, because there were two of us, and that would actually fit who we were,
right?
and be easy to say.
Right?
Even though when you Google it, you always come up with Commander's Palace. But that was a good restaurant, so that's okay.
There you go.
Very good restaurant.
So, Commanders comes from your jobs outside of Longhorns.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you do outside of Longhorns?
Kim recently retired from the reserves and Navy reserves, and I'm still on active duty, hoping that Kim lets me retire one day.
Well, I'll put my career in a nutshell. So I
Okay.
graduated from the academy in 1988, and I was one of the first class of women to graduate. The first class graduated in 1980.
Okay.
Was on 3 ships as a surface warfare officer, and then I changed designators and went into meteorology. I ended up forecasting typhoons out of Guam.
Okay.
That's where I met Nick. And then after that, I went into the reserves, and my last job, which was one of the more fulfilling jobs that I've had, was actually performing military honors at funerals for
Okay.
veterans.
Okay.
And it was amazing to be able to one, do this for those that went before us, and the people that I met, the shipmates, the families. It was truly amazing. I met someone that watched the Cuban Missile Crisis from underneath the water.
Oh.
So my naval career has been a big part of who I am.
Yeah, I'm not nearly that cool. I enlisted, went on active duty as an enlisted sailor back in 1985. Made chief, enlisted ranks, and then was commissioned under a commissioning program that takes enlisted people and makes them officers in the Navy, called the LDO program. Anyway, so in my early years, I rode submarines for years and years and years and years. 4 submarine tours in a row. You might have read about the Cold War. How old are you? Okay. You might have been alive during the Cold War, but some of us were fighting it. I rode submarines for years, and then I got commissioned and went a different direction, and did different things, and I too am a surface warfare officer, not the designator, but I have the pin. I call myself a ship driver. So, and I've been fortunate, and I'm not a very super religious person, but I'm going to use the B word. I've been blessed to have the opportunity to command twice, 3 times if you include my tour in Afghanistan. But it's been just a great run for us. So, I don't know. Kim and I met in Guam, like she said. That was kind of neat, and she was predicting typhoons in Guam, and I was driving a ship. So, small world.
What is your biggest accomplishment within the military or life, just in general?
Ooh,
Life in general.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Can I go?
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, I think I've had to been asked that question too in my proudest accomplishments, and I really always boil down to 2. One of them is when I was the MEPS commander in Oklahoma City, I was also elected to be the chairman of the Federal Executive Board, and because of the whole government effort, more people in Oklahoma got vaccinated against H1N1 flu, and when that was going to be the next plague. This is eight years ago or so now, but and I'll say that again, more people in Oklahoma, because of a whole government effort, were vaccinated against H1N1 than any other state, more than Texas, more than California, more than New York, which I think is really neat. And it was really, really cool for me to see government work correctly, and government work for the people. And of course, the other accomplishment that comes to my mind is, everybody I've ever led into battle has come home. Anyway, those are the two.
These are quite big accomplishments.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Kim?
Well, now I got to follow that up.
I know, right?
See, now I can say I'm not nearly as cool as that. I don't know. I start with what is first and foremost in my mind, and that is my children. I think they're two pretty awesome kids, and they're not that old yet, so they haven't had time to turn into the dark side and do horrible things. But I think they're growing up pretty good. And then we got to get into the military service, and when I say service, I that's the main part of it for me is the service part. I mentioned doing the military honors, and I think that I have touched more intimately and meant more to people doing that. I've provided closure, an outlet of grief, an outlet of celebration for their loved one's life. And then not that many people, all said, maybe a couple hundred over the last couple of years. But it's really meant a lot.
So the two of you met in Guam.
Yep.
And because you're in the military, I'm assuming you were all over the place. And then you eventually settled in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right?
I am a middle of America kind of guy. I was born in Rapid City, South Dakota, and I always knew I'd get back into agriculture, something growing, raising, who knows, but turned out to be Longhorns. And
What made you want to get Longhorns?
Well, let me feel that story. I should have known when we were looking for that dog.
Yeah.
We went to the Humane Society, the animal shelter, and there happened to be a barn there, and he had wandered off to look at what was in the barn, which were some sort of commercial breed Longhorn, I guess.
Right.
Didn't pay much attention to it then. Fast forward, it was Christmas time, and he had leave, and we like to do cultural things. Whatever place we're in, we like to try and get to know it a little bit. Nick had contacted a Longhorn ranch to the north of us, and said, "Oh, well, let's do something cultural, and we'll go visit a Longhorn ranch." And I said, "Okay." Well, as it turns out, he's had this little secret dream, I think, of Longhorns all of his life. His mom told me once about this toy set that he had that had little Longhorn cows that he used to play with. It was his favorite toy, she said. And so between that and that trip to the barn,
That's what did it, huh?
at the Humane Society, I think he's known deep in his heart all this time that is going to be Longhorns. So I feel kind of suckered in, but that's okay.
I of course can neither confirm nor deny that.
I drank the Kool-Aid. I was hooked.
And your kids, they're involved as well.
Yeah, for a Midwestern guy, winning the National Western Stock Show, or in this case, my daughter winning the National Western, pretty big accomplishment. We won something else that year up in National Western.
We did. Wyatt went in, and even though the heifer stepped on his foot beforehand, and then tried to get away from him in the arena, and he held on and got I'm not going to say standing ovation, but I wasn't there, but apparently people clapped.
Yeah.
We got reserve grand with that heifer.
Nice.
The other really cool thing that Wyatt actually enjoys talking about is he was asked to show a yak.
Oh.
The yak people wanted to have a youth show, and so they were combing the kid, for youth to show the yak, and there were a couple of boys that he found, and Wyatt was one of them, and he brought this giant woolly cow.
I know that was
Yeah.
This was not a cute little baby yak either.
Yes, this was a big one.
So yeah.
So they're both involved. Wyatt not so much. He doesn't love it, but Cheyenne, she does.
Yeah.
Any cow or calf that we break and she gets to show, it's her calf, and so sometimes it's a battle later on because we get attached to them, and she certainly does.
So you recently sold First Command.
Yeah, we had our first real bull that we bought was First Command CPL. We bought from up in Brett and Darcy up in Wyoming, and we sold him. Gosh, early in the spring. I don't remember.
It was in the spring.
Yeah, in the spring of this year, to Glenn Anderson. We still got Hustler 969. He just won his 6th. Really cool trophy at the LWC for total horn. Help me out here, Kim. What do you measure?
106.75 inches.
Yeah, 106 3/4 inches. You know, we do the show thing and the horn thing, and you know, with varying degrees of success.
The show thing we do because it's fun, and it's work. But a lot of the reason why we showed initially is one, because I enjoyed working with the large animals and breaking them and that kind of thing, and so I wanted to show. But I was really interested in getting the kids into it too. I've experienced that children that are raised amongst large animals gain such confidence from it.
Right.
And so even though Wyatt's not really into it, I'm glad I made him do it. I think he's gained quite a bit because of it. Cheyenne continues to love it.
We just picked up a young bull from Joshua Cashman, 21 guns. He's a top, Hunts Command Respect son out of Hashmark, who is a daughter of Hash Brown, which brings in Tari Graves and of course the Hash Browns and the Hashmarks. So like a 3/4 sibling to Top Caliber and Sitting Bull. And of course, you know, he's got a strong program up there. Our program, we do focus a little bit on some of the Hunts Command Respect. We've got a lot of Top Caliber daughters, HCR daughters, you know, that kind of thing. And a lot of the program cows that we have, we've got some Rutledge's Dinger stuff genetically. And we just, you know, I think, you know, Kim and I have never really chased the hottest and latest genetics. You know, what's the greatest thing on the planet now? We've kind of stuck to that. You know, and we just make cows that we like, and we hope other people like them too. You know, and we do go to the sales and consign and that kind of stuff. But you know, in all honesty, I think like most programs, most of our sales come through a private treaty. You know, but I think there is a place, you know, in any marketing strategy to make sure that you're involved in some of the auctions as well. You know, kind of get your name out there and that kind of thing.
Showing is part of your plan as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for anybody who wants to get involved with showing?
Yeah, patience. Yeah.
Patience. No, if you're going to be breaking your own animals, and I've discovered this the hard way a few times, you can't force it. You know, there are some animals that like I said, people contact. There are other animals that don't like people contact. Reach out and talk to people and ask them questions about how they did it and what they think and you know, where they would go, and maybe decide on your priorities.
You know, there's a lot of help out there. You know, I mean, it just, you know, you stop and think about what's going on in our breed in the shows. You know, the Audubon Youth Tour is just an incredible opportunity. You know, I don't think any other breed has a thing like the Audubon Youth Tour. And both my children, and I know countless billions of other children, have stupid amounts of money in college scholarship funds because of the Audubon Youth Tour. And that's just one example. But some of the programs that, you know, we really, you know, I won't say aspire to, but I think everybody, you know, some of the programs that we really appreciate out there, of course, Brett and Darcy DeLapp up in Wyoming, just great folks. They raise some really great cattle. You know, dear friends of ours. Cliffhanger Genetics, and then like I said, I mentioned Joshua Cashman. I think he's kind of taken what Owen McGill had and moving it forward, and I really appreciate what Joshua does as well. You know, of course, Ron and Barb Marquez, you know, have always been square shooters with us, and we've really appreciated our dealings with them as well. You know, and there's, you know, countless others, but those are kind of three of the big ones that come to my mind. Kim, am I forgetting anybody?
So we actually don't have any of their animals, but we've really enjoyed talking to them. The Bolins, Cindy and Brett.
Yeah.
They've been great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, yeah, no, this has been
Pleasure.
great.
It was
It's been
fun.
fun. Yeah.